Hey everyone, Sly47 here. Welcome back to Push Yourself. We're going over commander skills today, how to set up your commander, going through each tier, kind of the questions you want to ask yourself. There's really only a few tiers that I find that are in like contention where you actually want to choose one over the other depending on everything. I'm going to help you figure that out. And of course, veteran players, I know this is a really easy subject, so sorry this video is not for you. But if you want to, when you do see this, check for comments below. See if someone's asking a question that maybe I'm not the best at, especially with battleships, CVs, DDs. I'm more of a cruiser main, so I'm going to, kind of be biased towards those skills for that. But of course, help out the community down below and or on Discord if anyone asks any questions there. We're all just trying to help people get better. And sometimes there are key critical mistakes that people make in their commander skills that fundamentally screw up a ship line and make it so that people go, this ship sucks, but it's like, no, it's your commander setup. So let's go through all the tiers, let's get into it and help you push yourself to the next level. Now, before we get immediately into tier 1, I just want to quickly go over this. This is not going to be going over legendary commander skills. It's just going to be going over regular commander skills. I think that's up for its whole video, and also maybe a little bit of time spent on how I would fix some of them, because some of them are pretty bland and boring or downright useless in my opinion. Yeah, they're better, they exist, but you don't need to put your work in or put your money in for it. But either way, just a quick little preface, just going over regular commanders now. Whole nother video, of course, will be for legendary commanders. So on the format of this, especially with tier 1, which explains it pretty well, is that I am going to have little notes underneath each and every skill, kind of giving you the question of, hey, if you want this, or hey, this is just good. And like that, that's the default, and the other ones will have questions to them or have stipulations to them underneath. This way you can quickly go back to the video, find exactly what tier you're going for, and just look at the video instead of having to rewatch and hear me ramble for minutes on end. So hopefully that will help in the future for people that are wanting to get back to this video and really wanting to check this out. So first up, we have Underwater Protection Expert, Aerobatic Maneuver, and Emergency Response. Now, Underwater Protection Expert, minus 3% damage caused by an enemy torpedo. Pretty much that's going to help out every single class stay alive just a tiny bit more. DDs, it's not as effective. Of course, Aerobatic Maneuver this is just for CVs pretty much, and or occasionally you have ships that have that, like the Issei or the Tone. This might help them, but in reality you're just going to be using your commanders from the typical line, so you're pretty much going to be probably going the Underwater Protection Expert. And if you feel like your steering gear and power systems are going out often, you can take Emergency Response, but I've never really felt the need, and I'd rather just have less enemy torpedo damage, even if it's on a DD. It's just straight up better. So that's tier 1. Let's move on to tier 2. So now we have Torpedo Alert, Battlefield Support, and Armament Repair Expert. Torpedo Alert, you can see torpedoes sooner so you can dodge them. That is always good, pretty much. Battlefield Support, if you happen to have sonar or DFAA on your ship, this is, I generally say, arguable better pick. It's a better pick than Torpedo Alert because sonar gives you such a better detection, and then also you add a little bit more utility to your team, which is always helpful. And Armament Repair Expert, maybe there's an argument that you could say you could use these on German battleships where they have a lot of good secondaries, but even then I'd rather just try to stay alive longer and wait for my repair to come back up to heal them and have Torpedo Alert and or have Battlefield Support. So in my opinion, once again, kind of like the first tier, the repair stuff, it's not really worth it. I'd rather have other things. So definitely I'd go with Torpedo Alert as default, and then if you happen to have sonar or DFA, use Battlefield Support. So on to tier 3, we have High Alert, Preheating, and Artillery Maintenance Expert. Default is High Alert. It reduces the cooldown for your damage control kits. That is always helpful. That tends to keep you alive a lot longer, so great. But this is actually a pretty contentious tier because let's say you want to get into cap faster. You're going to use Preheating, especially on DDs and CLs, in order to get into the positions you want. I have heard some people using them on battleships, but I'd say just arguably Artillery Maintenance Expert is better for them. So in my opinion, if you're running a DD or a light cruiser, Preheating would probably be better so you can get into that better position. Artillery Maintenance Expert for everyone else that's looking to try to bump that accuracy. If you really don't feel like your accuracy is needed on that, or the traverse speed is needed when your ship is above 75% health, High Alert's right there for you. All really good skills in this section. It's just all where you are, what ship you're using it on. On to tier 4. Realistically, there's only 2 true options in this tier, and the questions are do you have DFAA And is it worth putting a point into that AA? Because maybe your AA is kind of bleh. So pretty much it's Victorious Charge as default. You get health back whenever you kill an enemy. That's great. That's perfect. Air Defense Expert, if you have DFA, especially like American cruisers, stuff like that, when you know your AA is good, why not? Why not? Burn those planes down even better. It's great. Unstoppable, if you have a ship that you mostly play respawn in, maybe? I don't know. I don't see the point for actually putting the point in here when you have two other skills that are much more usable, and of course one that is constantly capable of being used, especially if you rack up those kills in game. And yes, Kraken Unleashed, when you do have that, it is quite fun to have, but I don't think it's worth putting the point in overall. On to tier 5, we have Survivalist, Fire Supremacy, and Daredevil. Now for me, default Survivalist pretty much works and makes everything better. You survive longer because you have additional health whenever you heal. Great. But if you happen to have Rapid Reload or Precise Aim, Fire Supremacy is better because you're able to dish out more damage. So that's a better pick overall. Daredevil, on the other chance, in my opinion, it doesn't do enough to keep you alive, but in gun-focused DDs, specifically like the Kebab, the Grozavoy, a little bit, and like that, the American DDs, you can kind of argue, Daredevil could help, but I still would much rather have that 15% extra health rather than trying to dodge shells, especially when you're at lower than 33% health. You typically are about to die anyways, and that maneuverability isn't always going to save you. So that extra health, in my opinion, overall would save you more often. So now we're getting to some interesting tiers, in my opinion. These are the tiers that start to make or break certain lines where, hey, this actually just helps out enough, or someone's going to pick something wrong. So if you have a question on these, just put a question in down below. Someone will answer, or myself, and we'll help you out any way that we can. So for tier 6, we got Exploit Weakness, Recon Surveillance, and Generalist. For the Exploit Weakness, you only want to take it if you're a fire starting or flooding ship. Do not take this if you do not directly start fires and floods. Don't. It's just not worth it. There is a better skill on this line most likely for you. Now, if you have sonar, you take Recon and Surveillance because your sonar lasts longer and gets back up quicker. That's a perfect skill. Great to have, adds to your utility of your ship. Generalist is the default for this. Gives you additional health, and also it prevents anyone with Exploit Weakness from doing more damage to you. So that's why Generalist is definitely the default for this tier, because the other two, you have to be those ships to do it. But a lot of ships blend between those. Some of them, hey, it might make sense. You're a fire starting ship, but you have sonar. So which one do you want to choose? It's very ship dependent, so if you have any questions, make sure to put a question down below and we'll try to get to you as soon as possible, and or join up on Discord. We can help you there as well. Of course, Discord link in the link tree down below. On to tier 7, Dogfight Specialist. This is pretty much just for fighter-based CVs. We've removed one. Everyone else, the other two, do you have Precise Aim? And would this really help out your ship? In my opinion, Marksman's just the better pick out of the two. But if you do want to have your repair kits back up, I could totally see you arguing for Fully Prepared. But Marksman, if you have Precise Aim, use it. It helps you get more shells on target, which potentially means more dead ships, which means less guns to deal with, which means you stay alive longer so that you don't have to worry about Fully Prepared. But if you don't have Precise Aim, Fully Prepared is perfect for you. Just take it. Super easy tier. So, tier 8. Now, one of these, there's a little bit of stipulation you have to cover. But Extinguisher, Mistweaver, and Adrenaline Rush. Extinguisher is just default. Taking less damage from fire is great. It makes you tankier. It doesn't make you die from fire so much. It makes them less painful. It's a great pick for almost every ship in this game. But if you happen to have smoke, Mistweaver is great and a much better pick because you're able to stay in your smoke for longer, have a bigger radius, so you might be able to hide some people, and also you've got your skill to come back a little bit quicker. But I specify either because actually Mistweaver only affects fuel smokes, so the short smokes, the kind of the get out of jail free cards or assassination run skill, in my opinion. That only affects its cooldown time. Mistweaver only changes it and makes it quicker to come back. That still is worth it to take over Extinguisher, in my opinion. So if you have smoke, either or, Mistweaver is just straight up better. Hopefully they'll fix that and they'll add the skill duration time and fix that bug. Adrenaline Rush. Are you a tanky ship with 2 or more of these? I could see you arguing it. But Extinguisher, in my opinion, just generally is better. There are very few ships that truly benefit from Adrenaline Rush. Mostly, I would say, German battleships, because they're tanky enough to stay within that 25% range where they actually have a good amount of time to actually use that reload drop. But outside of that, it's hard to argue that. I'd rather be tankier and take less damage from fires than have Adrenaline Rush most of the time. But there's certain ships that definitely can benefit from it. On to, I'd say, one of the more important tiers in the Commander skills line, Tier 9. We've got Demo Expert as default with Close Quarters Combat Expert and Engine Overload on this tier. Demo Expert, you just knock out more modules, period. That helps. That's great. You can strip turrets, strip secondaries, maybe knock out a few torpedo tubes, screwing up a DD a few times. Demo Expert is perfect, works on almost every single ship line. I would definitely use that. But if you happen to be going maybe a secondary build for the German BB line, Close Quarter Combat Expert is going to basically do about the same thing because your secondaries are just going to do a lot of damage to all the components on an enemy ship. It'll help you out do that, so I'd personally prefer Close Quarters Combat Expert, but I totally just see you staying and playing it safe with the Demo Expert. And then Engine Overload, if you're a DD and you maybe don't need to be knocking out those modules as much, Engine Overload is perfect for you. Gets it back quicker and keeps it around longer, so you can maybe get out a little bit quicker of an area of detection or anything like that. So great tier, in my opinion. A lot of good options here. Demo Expert is the clear winner in it, in my opinion, though. Now, before we keep on going on, do not feel like you need to have a commander at max level or 10 even. In my opinion, you always want to get your commander to about 6 before really going above tier 7, I'd say. Is you want to have generally all those utility skills, battlefield support, sonar, everything like that, because those ones are key in helping make certain ship lines work. But everything after 8, 9-ish, basically it's just going to have a good quality of life update. None of them are required, so do not feel pressured about it. Don't worry about breathe if you're a new player. It's going to be fine, okay? But let's get into tier 10. We've got Compartment Maintenance, Master Reloader, and Honor Seeker. Compartment Maintenance, you take less damage from flooding. Flooding is annoying when it happens, and if you accidentally use your repair and you don't have it available, this helps you a little bit. This is why it's a default thing. Flooding's annoying. It's one of the worst parts of your game, so why not lessen that effect? That's great. But if you have rapid reload, Master Reloader makes or breaks certain lines. It helps so much. It's not required, but I will say when you have it, oh man, is it so much better on those ships that have rapid reload. So definitely rapid reload is better because you're just able to get those rapid reloads much faster back up and do a lot more damage, thus removing guns and thus removing the potential chance of getting flooded. So Honor Seeker, sure, if you want to. I personally, there are very few times I've seen Honor Seeker worth it, and even with legendary commanders giving a buff to it, I still don't see it as meaningful. I'd rather take Master Reloader or Compartment Maintenance. I'd rather survive longer or do more damage, not if I happen to get a medal, because sometimes you get no medals in games. Sometimes you get all of them. It doesn't change much. It's very hit or miss. So if you feel like you're in a ship that consistently gets first strikes, really, then I'd go Honor Seeker. But overall, Compartment Maintenance or Master Reloader if you happen to have rapid reload. On to tier 11, we have Dauntless Dive, Inertial Fuse, High Explosive Shell, or IFHE, and Armor Piercing Capped Shell. If I can talk today, this has been a very long recording session. Either way, I'm going to keep that in. But Dauntless Dive, pretty much, if your CV has bombers, you use it. Pretty plain and simple. Now, for IFHE and APCS, as they are commonly called, it's kind of a hard way to pin down, but I think I got it at least better, because the problem is with IFHE, actually, you can cause yourself to do less damage with HE because you start to overpen depending on your caliber and everything like that. So in my opinion, it's very rare that you actually use this. IFHE tends to be more of a, if you happen to have IFHE plus with a legendary commander, or you have a specific ship where you're not going to start overpenning with that HE. So APCS is definitely the default on this tier, but for me, if you're in a fire starting ship with bigger than 150s, typically you actually want to use IFHE on that, or just generally a DD. Generally you don't have enough pen on your HE to actually do it, but the problem is that 15% of IFHE doesn't do as much as the mere 5% that APCS gives you, because APCS, of course, AP has a higher level of penetration, higher number, so that 5% actually does more commonly than that 15% does in the HE area, because HE has low penetration. So typically follow these rules. APCS is just generally better. You occasionally can get away with using the IFHE. Definitely, if you have any questions on this particular ship, put your questions down below. We'll try to answer that. And of course, join up on Discord. We can definitely help you out there, decide which ship works best for each version of these, because they are definitely a contentious topic in the community pretty much forever. It's just, to me, a constant conversation really within the community. To the penultimate skills, the tier 12 skills of a commander. Of course, you've been grinding a very long time. You probably know exactly which one you're going to choose, but for those who are still kind of horizontal protection expert is default on this, because it just helps out everyone. It reduces the risk of fire, it increases your protection of the ships. You pretty much want to choose it on almost everything, including even some ships that you might want to put Citadel Strike on, because Citadels are a rare thing in the game, and yes, you get to do a little bit more damage from the main battery, but it's not an insane amount unless you have like a Fukushima or just a big gun ship and you feel like you Citadel enough to use it. Citadel Strike is there, but to me, only on battleships and super heavy cruisers. Everything else should be using Horizontal Protection Expert, whereas if you're a DD or an IJN cruiser, Giant Hunter. Pretty much that's it. There's really no in between. Horizontal Protection Expert is just the clear winner in this, and I really wish they would jumble up the skills and do a little bit of a redo on the commander skills, make it a little bit more of a tough choice every single tier. But to me, it's just, this is just blatant. Horizontal Protection Expert is an insane skill. It helps you be more tanky, and the other two are really situational, and even Giant Hunter is questionable on certain ships, even on IJN cruisers, depending on how you play them. So that's all of the commander skills. Hopefully this helps out everyone in exactly how to make their commander work for any ship. Help you kind of give a few pointers, and I hope this helped you today. I know it's a pretty easy subject that many veterans will say, but of course I have a lot of questions come up about this. Hey, what do I choose for this ship? What do I choose for this? So I wanted to make sure this was out there, put it up there so that this can be a guide for anyone who's just starting the game, learning it, and wanting to kind of just not screw up too early, because trust me, retraining a commander can be a little expensive and can be pretty annoying. So if this happened to have helped you, definitely hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Also, hit the notification bell if you want to see whenever new content goes live. And of course, Linktree link is down below in the description for access to every part of this: Discord, Patreon, everywhere, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, any way you want to watch, it's all there. And of course, thank you to the Patreon members for helping support this channel and making this all just a blast and giving me such good content to work with and ideas to grow on. And if you want to help support there, of course, link is down below. And also join up on Discord, join the fleet that is in game right now in Blitz. We're taking everyone and anyone. It's all just good and fun, and just thank you everyone for making this such a blast to sit here talking to myself, looking into a camera every week. It's just always fun, because I always like seeing all the comments and just all the communication, especially on Wednesday streams and just on the videos. It's just fun to talk with y'all about this game. I do like Blitz. It's a fun game, and I hope that these videos help push yourself to the next level, and so you can enjoy it just that further, because it's always fun whenever you're crushing it and not getting soul crushingly killed by some other players. So hopefully this helps you. Have a wonderful day. Peace.